so I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's run it. It's Friday. FT Live. We're all in different places, but we're all kind of back, especially Mr. Pierzynski. Series that did not go the distance for you. Sorry, dude. Are you okay? Didn't go 5.
I know. I'm a little bit upset about that. But at the same time, the Astros were a better team. So what are you going to do?
Did you have fun? How was Wayno?
Oh, I did. I had a great time. It was awesome. The games were great. The games had great stories, and it was good.
Are you best friends with Wayno?
I mean, we've been friends I played with him 10 years ago. Our best friends might be a little much, but we're definitely friends.
Did you guys go to dinner?
Every night, bro. What are you talking about? Of course we went to dinner.
Did he get, what is it, Kratz, A5?
Oh, you know what? We went in Houston the first night on Friday night before the first game. We went to same place, Vic and Anthony's.
Yep.
And the whole crew got Wagyu, except for me. Everyone else got Wagyu.
Wow, look at AJ. So
what did you get? What did you get there? Corporate contract must be up. You're trying to re-up that contract. Look how much I saved you. What'd you get? Did you get chicken? Did you get the duck?
Oh, I got freaking New York strip, but I didn't want Wagyu because it was only 4 ounces. I went for the 20-inch strip, dude.
Well done.
Proud of you. Okay, let's jump into it because there was a game last night. There are no games tonight or tomorrow, which does suck, but that's what happens when series end early. And Stephanie Apstein is going to join us pretty soon from Sports Illustrated to get into the commentary portion of what has ensued over the past 48 hours. That definitely is not going away because some people just can't get over the fact that media exists, but we'll get to that. So let's start with the game, okay? The Atlanta Braves looked like the best team in 2023 for the entire regular season. They play one playoff series, the National League DS, and they lose, and their season is over. Your thoughts? AJ, you want to start?
Phillies, I've been saying it for a long time now. The Phillies were not afraid of the Braves, and they proved it again. Not only were they not afraid of them, I mean, they were really an Austin Riley swing from sweeping their asses. So, yeah, the Phillies weren't afraid of them. Listen, the Phillies went into this series. The Braves were the team that had all the swag. The Phillies just out-swagged them, out-hit them, out-pitched them, out-maneuvered them. I mean, pretty much everything they could do right, the Phillies did right. And listen, I mean, you can say, yeah, the Braves had more wins during the regular season, but at the end of the year, the Phillies were a better team.
They started off 25-32, crap. Then after that, they won 62% of their games, which was a 100-win pace. So you have your slow start, which they did last year. They did not have Bryce Harper. They also had some Kyle Schwarber outfield action, which is not a thing anymore. Trey Turner was ice cold for the first, really, 2+ months of the season. And their bullpen got better. Their defense definitely got better in the outfield. So my point all along, and this is why I picked them to win the World Series, is that they are just as, if not better, than the Atlanta Braves. They just had a slow start. But in terms of what I look at on paper, I'm like, I think it's a better team. I don't think it was an upset. It was an upset just by seeding. But I don't think even during the regular season, after that slow start and after they got their guys back, I don't think it was a worse team than Atlanta. I never saw that. And also, I just think the star power and the way that the roster is constructed is conducive to winning in the playoffs. And this year, Atlanta had Strider, and he was fine. I mean, the offense didn't show up for them yesterday, and also the Phillies pitching is good. But the Phillies pitching is better than Atlanta right now. Atlanta went through some injuries. Also, they don't have like all the top tier studs in place right now at the top of their rotation besides Strider and obviously kind of half of what we got from Fried that you would expect. So I'm not surprised. That's my point. In fact, I, of course, would have been surprised if the Braves just ran through the Phillies in this series.
I would have been surprised too. I think they were, after that slow start, Braves hot start. The Phillies had no chance of coming back, but you also have no chance because the Braves played just as well as the Phillies. To me, I think this was the World Series matchup. To me, I think this team, one of these two teams, was going to have the best chance of winning the World Series. And Scott, you are the smartest baseball mind that I know, so you must be right. They must go on to win the World Series. But the other thing, huge disadvantage, the Phillies didn't have 5 days off to rest. So there's no way the Braves had a chance to win because they were so tired. I can't wait until they change the format for the playoffs next year because it's just not fair when a team that wins the regular season doesn't win in the first round. It's just not fair.
I know the Astros are really pissed about it too, Kratz. They're pissed about the format. They're like, it's so unfair that we had to wait and then let the Twins go through the Blue Jays series and then come to us so that we couldn't set up our rotation so that as we were fighting to the finish at the end of the year, we couldn't rest. Oh, wait. There's a lot of sarcasm over the past minute, so if someone just clips off what we were saying. The Astros were totally fine. And Brian Snitker said that post-game. And Spencer Strider had great comments too, which we'll run in a second, right?
I thought the Braves handled it really well. I thought the Braves were very, very professional about this portion of it. It's more Braves fans, some Braves media. You know, it's to me, the people that complain about the rest are the same people who let their kids win in ping pong and mini golf. Like, you know what? You don't like it? Like, play better. You don't like it? Figure out a way to hit against the Phillies pitching. Figure out a way to navigate how JT Realmuto is game planning against you differently than they did during the regular season. Like, figure out a way to get big hits from your guys. To me, Spencer Strider, as much as like the Philly fans were like, we want Strider, this dude stepped up and he gave them exactly what they needed. Would have been great if he'd thrown 7 shutout. Absolutely. That is almost impossible against this lineup. And to me, he delivered. To me, they just never, they're hitting never, like you said, one Austin Riley swing away from being swept as a 104-win team.
All right, so let's play some sound from the clubhouse. Do we have that good to go? Because it was pretty fun. And there was actually also a dude in the clubhouse who looked just like Kratz. He's not as large of a human, but they wear the same outfit.
He's more handsomer.
Debatable.
By the way, you're all studs.
Yeah!
Here we go. We got 8 more!
And so Rob Thompson was like saying, who's a stud, right? He was like, Castellanos is a stud. And then also you saw a lot of this from Bryce. Yeah. Do we know what that is yet?
No idea, but it seemed pretty funny.
We didn't see that in the dugout, did we? That was a new thing. They have so many things.
Celebration. They have
a lot.
But they also have a lot. But they have a lot of everybody doing the same thing too. They seem like a team that is really together. Maybe it's because I spent time around this team last year and I saw the way they interact with each other, or maybe it's, the post-game stuff with the daycare guys, Stott and Bohm and Marsh, throwing water and gum and snacks on the player of the game. But there's a team unity to this team that, somebody screws something up, it becomes a celebration in the clubhouse. You never know what anything could be. They could be mocking somebody. Who knows? Oh, there's mocking too by Orion Kirker. For those on the pod that are not able to see it, he's wearing a "Attaboy Harper." And I forget what the back said. The back of the shirt says something pretty, shoot, what was it? Anyway,
you got time to find it because we're going to dive into that in the next seg when we bring on Stephanie Apstein. But I'm just curious, AJ, if you feel like these poor offenses around baseball take several days off and can't remember how to hit. So not much from the Atlanta offense. Also, Acuna, I mean, had a tough series. What was he, 2 for 14 and a lot of ground ball outs. He didn't, and we're showing Mark Bowman, who was pissed, who covers the Braves for MLB. Acuna didn't speak after the game. He grabbed his bag and said, quote, "I have to go to the bus," as other players remained in the clubhouse. Bus is not leaving without Ronald Acuna Jr. if he speaks to the media for 4 minutes. Usually those sessions are 4 minutes, just for everyone to know, because I'm in them quite frequently. But
Not even,
right. Braves, okay. AJ, Orioles, although they scored some runs in that series at times. Dodgers offense was pretty bad. What's up?
4 days off before the LCS. So I don't know who's going to complain about the rest because, 4 and 5 days off. What's the big difference? I think it's awful that everyone, listen, I'll give Snicker credit and I'll give the Strider credit for saying what they said. But every other team and every other media is they had too much time off. Well, the Houston Astros had the same amount of time off and they went into Minnesota and whooped them. So I don't know what we're complaining about. Listen, I was on a team that swept 1 and 5 and then we had time off. Before the World Series. And guess what we did? We went 11 out of 12. We didn't bitch one time about rest. So I don't want to hear about rest and this and that. Every team that loses that has too much time off says it's too much rest. Screw that, dude. Go out, be ready, figure out how to prepare yourself. When you have 4 days off for the All-Star break, nobody complains. They're all like, oh, we're so happy we had 4 days off. You get 4 days off now and everyone complains. How about you just got beat?
Spencer Strider with a masterclass on accepting defeat and responsibility. This from Travis Sawchik, who covers the game for a while. He said it's been lacking from certain players and execs this postseason. So here's the quote from Strider. "The people trying to use the playoff format to make an excuse for the results they don't like are not confronting the real issue. You're in control of your focus, your competitiveness, your energy. If having 5 days means you can't make the adjustment, you have nobody to blame but yourself." Also,
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
And Snicker said the right thing too. Snicker's like, he said the Astros didn't care, right? But I mean, you heard it about the other teams. You heard it about the Dodgers and Freeman and Betts 1 for 22, I believe, with the infield hit, right? And then you heard it from the Orioles. Like, why? Again, when you have the All-Star break, Kratz, you get 4 days off. Everybody can't wait for those 4 days off.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Everyone's like,
No
oh, we
doubt.
get 4 days off. And then all of a sudden now you get to the playoffs and you lose because you get beat. Listen, okay, the Orioles got beat by a team, the Rangers, that were just hot. Okay? It happens. Right? The Braves got beat by a team, as Scott said, are a better team, and they are not afraid of the Braves. The Dodgers got beat by the Diamondbacks, a team they have owned for the last 10 years. They were just hot. And Betts and Freeman, listen, no offense, 1 for 22, two biggest guys at the top of the order, isn't going to get it done. So listen, bad timing, whatever you want to call it, but don't blame the rest because I think that's just a poor excuse of teams that lose. And it's an easy built-in excuse because the media narrates it that way. And I think it's wrong. Just say, hey, you know what? Own up like Strider did. We had time. Strider pitched good twice too. He gave up, 4 runs in 2 games? I mean, where was the offense? Where was this offense that was unstoppable the entire year? They didn't show up. That's why they lost. It wasn't because of the rest. They just got beat.
Also, I've been saying this, and I believe in this because I experienced this, and I've been to many, many playoff games. Obviously, the player perspective is different, but you're talking to the players about it. Philly actually feels like a home game in the playoffs and an advantage. I don't feel like most places resonate the same way. Could I exactly explain why? I guess not, but it feels louder, more energetic from start to finish. It feels more hostile. The players seem to surge off of it more than where I've witnessed any other playoff home game during my time working in the sport for almost 15 years. I'm feeling a difference. I'm seeing a difference. And you're seeing teams that get shook when they go there, Kratz. So it's not a Philly bias thing because there are other parks that were really special during that time period in the past, right? Especially if they hadn't seen playoff baseball in a while, which occurred for Philly last year. It's just as wild again this year. So I actually believe it because most of home field advantage in the playoffs, at least has proven results-wise to not mean much. I actually think this means a lot.
I would agree with you. And I don't think it's necessarily how much louder they get. I don't know if you can get louder than Milwaukee with the roof closed, Arizona with the roof closed, Toronto roof closed. Volume wise, I don't know because you're starting to get into volume that you're feeling it. You're feeling the crowd instead of just hearing it. Like you go to different levels of volume. To me, there is just a constant pulse in the stadium. And I think other playoff stadiums that I've been to have been super loud. I am not going to deny that they're not loud, but the pulse in Philly starts at a 10, and I think everyone else starts at a 1. Everyone gets up to 100 at some point in the game when stuff's going their way, but it's always at a 10. I was at the no-hitter last year against the Astros, where the Astros threw a no-hitter. And even when they were losing, there was just this, like, I don't know how to explain it, just this energy in the ballpark that is different than other places. And it's definitely an advantage.
So the other component here is the weird bitching about the situation with Orlando Arcia saying something so like fun and harmless, and the Braves getting so sensitive about it. Super weird. So let's swing back and we'll bring in Stephanie Apstein, who wrote some great articles about this topic. And there was just so much, even after the show we did yesterday, covering it. So poll question 2, most disappointing team this postseason: Atlanta, Baltimore, Dodgers, Rays, or Jays. Watchstadium.com/foul territory. All about Arcia. Attaboy. Next.
There's obviously, when you see the media coming in, you know that, there a lot of times there's hot mics, there's that kind of thing. So there's a lot of reason why some older guys, when the media come to the clubhouse, they're never in there. They're in the weight room, they're in the training room, they're eating food. Like there's ways to go and have conversations with your teammates about stuff without media being around. They're only allowed to go in certain areas. So yeah, I mean, it was one of those things. That was a big game. It was a big win. It's a big play to end the game. They were all excited, rightfully so. But yeah, I think it's tough to then say, okay, we're not going to talk to the media, because that's just part of our job as baseball players.
To the Brewers, you are the same as Bryce Harper is to the Phillies. You're that big time guy. You're that guy that the team leans on in a big situation. Do you need motivation? Do you need somebody else to tell you, hey, you know what? I think Corbin Burns did screw up last year and make the Brewers not make the playoffs. What? Now I'm going to go out and pitch way better.
No, I mean, I think, guys draw enough motivation from, the game itself. I think a postseason setting like that, where you're playing an in-division, rival, I think you have plenty of motivation as it is. Obviously, you don't play each other near as many times as we used to, but there's enough motivation for them playing back in Philly against the Braves, who were one of the best teams all year. I don't think that they, Harper himself needs the extra motivation. Maybe he drew from it. Maybe it was more the crowd drew from it more than anything.
And now back to foul territory.
Sports Illustrated senior writer Stephanie Apstein joining us right now on FT Live with Braun, Kratz, and Pierzynski. And Stephanie, it's great to see you again and have you back on the show. And I just want to start off and say everything that we say here during this show is completely on the record. And I know that anytime there are any conversations nowadays, you have to say that before you do anything. And that includes, like, if you're at a bar or a restaurant and you yell something out, that is off the record, right? Isn't that how all this works?
I appreciate you laying it out. That's helpful for me. Thank you. I like to know where I stand.
Absolutely. So why don't you tell the world how you enlightened everyone with the article that you put together? You can summarize it better than I can in terms of how these rules actually work, because I will say most reporters, like especially on the TV side, I can speak for myself. Nobody ever sat down with me and said, hey, this is how things work. This is how you're supposed to interview players, what's on the record, etc. I'm not writing articles, but still, I think it's important for anybody that's in a clubhouse to understand what is accepted and what's not. And we're showing right there the tweet you put together to promote the article. But can you explain, because you clearly do have the knowledge of how this should all work, and there are a lot of fans, media members, players that are clueless on the topic, and this is a good learning lesson.
Yeah, and what's funny is that I think most players actually do understand these rules, and that's why you don't really hear from them. They don't really whine when we write what they say and do, because they know what the rules are. When the clubhouse is closed to us the vast majority of the time they're in there. And at that point, they do whatever they want. When we walk in as the CBA, it's collectively bargained that we have time, we have access in there. And when we walk in, the media is present. As I wrote in my story, I am the record as a reporter. The only way that something would become off the record is if we make an agreement beforehand that it is off the record. You can come to me afterward and say, hey, I wish I hadn't said that. Can we take that off the record? And that's up to the reporter at that point. And like, we're humans, we're reasonable people. We talk through a lot of this stuff. A lot of these negotiations happen behind the scenes all the time. But in general, in an open space like that, where recorders are rolling, cameras are rolling, nobody's pretending not to be a reporter. You don't really have an expectation of privacy at that point. We were talking yesterday, a lot of us, if a player is whispering to his teammate, I just found out my wife has cancer, I think you would be unlikely reported. But a player loudly yelling in the background of our interviews, that's totally fair game. And I'll tell you, everybody on the Phillies side knows that. And I think that the Atlanta players know that too. And I think that they have chosen to make this they tried to galvanize the team around it, and that's up to them. They're allowed to do that. It doesn't seem like it worked. I think instead it became a distraction. I mean, even last night they were talking about that just as much as they were talking about the loss. But I think that for the most part, this system works. And the other thing that I mentioned in what I wrote is that the reason that we have this system is for the fans. The fans are the reason that professional sports is such a lucrative business. It's the fact that people care about this and they want to know what it looks like in there. It's those scenes of loss, of victory that fans want to understand. And I said, like, the reason that how much it hurt Clayton Kershaw to fall short is that we were in there describing what he looked like. And then the reason that how happy he was when the Dodgers won is that we had explained to you how hard it was for him. The reason that about Mark McGwire and Andro is that we were in there. The reason there are so many moments, and I even mentioned that, like, the reason that that Chan-Ho Park got lit up in 2010 because he had, quote, a lot of diarrhea. That's because we're in there. It's not all like important, earth-shattering stuff, but given that this is an industry that exists because of fans, I think fans deserve to get a sense of who these people are and what makes these games happen. And that's how they find out, is that this ecosystem gives them access to players through us.
Stephanie, as a former player and now a media member, I mean, I just was in Houston and Minnesota, okay? When I'm in the clubhouse, it is like, for me as a former player, it is one of the most awkward times. We get 15 minutes just for us. No print, no anybody. It's just Fox in the playoffs. They give us 15 minutes just in the clubhouse. And it is like the most awkward 15 minutes. I'm like standing there and I'm like, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to see. I'm like, la, la, la. Now, will I go up to people and talk to them? Of course. People I know or people I want to introduce myself? Absolutely. But I also know as a former player, especially in the postseason, the media PR people of the team, they come to you and they say, hey, the clubhouse opens in 1 minute. We are opening it up. Whatever you say after they tell you that is your own fault. There is no, and especially for me, here's my thing. And again, I want to take the player side on this, but if I was going to yell that, if I'm Orlando Arcia and I yell that, and I know all the reporters are there and there's probably a camera going to catch me yelling it, then the next day I can't say it was off the record. I have to come and say, yeah, I said it and I meant it. I mean, at least that was me. I'd be like, yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, listen, this is like the lightest trash talking I've ever heard. And for them to be like, oh, it motivated Bryce Harper? It's the playoffs. You think Bryce Harper needs any more motivation to beat the Braves or to beat anybody? He wants a ring. And it just was, I thought, listen, personally, I thought it was freaking awesome. He'd run around the bases staring at him. That's what we want in this game, isn't it? Don't we want this? Isn't this what other sports have? You know, guys like basketball, right? Kobe and whoever, MJ and the Pistons, right? LeBron trying to win these championships, right? This is what we want. The Warriors and Kobe, the Warriors and LeBron, right? Like duking it out. This is what we want. And we finally get this. And one team's like, no, we didn't really mean it. We're sorry. And you guys won because we talked too much. No, how about we just got our asses kicked?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of what was so silly about the whole thing is the correct answer is, yeah, I said it because I was really excited that we won a game against a really good team. We respect them a lot, and I hope we beat them again. It's a totally reasonable thing to say. I mean, or at least it's a totally reasonable emotion to feel. But yes, you do know when we're in there. And I think that you guys, the former players who are in the media, are in sort of a weirder spot because you straddle the line. With us, there's no question. Look, I'm obviously not in there in some team capacity. I can't get the ball back to the pitcher if I'm playing catcher. I'm not I'm not an athlete in any way. They know what I'm there for, and so I think that there's really no blurred line on this one, to be honest. And it only became a story because Harper thought it was funny. If he hadn't stared him down rounding the bases, we would not be talking about this. And he said he had a lot of fun with it. That he thinks this is what it's about. He thinks this is good for the game, and I think he's right. I mean, it's also honestly, it's pretty good for Orlando Arcia's brand. I think a lot more people. His Q score has probably gone up in the last couple days. This is fun. It's an entertainment industry. Bryce Harper understands that.
It is entertainment. And you guys are, this is something AJ's learned since he's just joined the show. He didn't know this before, but writers are not biased. They are not cheering for either team. AJ thinks that every home writer.
That's what they tell me on Twitter, and that's what they tell me on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.
I cheer for and against each team every time I do a game. So
right,
apparently I'm biased against everybody.
Hey, you're learning. But I heard somebody say, if a camera was rolling and this was recorded, what he said, would people be like, "Oh, that camera is a real"? What did Alana Rizzo call Matt? Didn't he call Jack? Didn't he call her Jack off? Like a person?
You're talking about Jake Mintz, who was one of the people that
I said his name wrong.
Well, yeah, and also Jack off, Jake. Yeah, there's a lot of JA.
But you wouldn't say that you wouldn't say that if the camera recorded it. You'd be like, "Oh, Arcia said it." So to me, the fault is nothing in the words that he said. The fault is nothing in somebody reporting it. The fault is in the players not owning up to it.
So I can't hear for some reason. The audio just on you is not coming through, but I am an accomplished lip reader, and I saw Jag off, so I'm guessing.
And I can help you, Stephanie. I can help you too if you didn't catch Kratz. I mean, he's basically asking about the aftermath here, and Alana Rizzo, who just apologized on MLB Network for talking down on Jake Mintz and the situation and calling him a jack off and kind of referring to bloggers and podcasters and all of that. And there's been some other also Atlanta media, and I'm going to quote media because some of the stuff that I saw from them is ridiculous too, but saying that, it's inappropriate for a player or for a reporter to do that. Here, I'll call this person out. Miles Garrett is, I think, a TV reporter down there. He, along with many other Braves players, did not know what was being said in the locker room at the time, was on the record. The media and players have a trust about what is on the record and what is whatever. I'm not going to read his whole thing. That should tell you enough right there. And then the BBWAA, though, sent out a pretty strong message. And there it is. I'll read this and then you can run through. And that kind of explains where Kratz was going here. On October 12th, Jake Mintz of Fox Sports was subjected to a personal attack during a segment on MLB Network. For the record, he is a BBWAA member in good standing, has earned the right to be credentialed through his hard work and quality baseball coverage. To assert otherwise in vulgar terms is both unprofessional and unacceptable. The BBWAA is deeply troubled that the league's own network would permit the disparaging of one of our members in this fashion. Scrutinizing our work is part of the territory, but comments such as these should have no place on MLBN. So what did you think of all of that kind of aftermath? There was 2 layers here. It was the players freaking out and then certain media members freaking out.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk specifically about any one person's comments, but I think that in general, it has been more disappointing to see media members seem to misunderstand our role. And I think that you can see, I think that there is a contingent of people who think that if you are gentle to the players, they'll be your friend. They're not, they aren't your friend. They have a job to do, and I have a lot of respect for the job that they have. And the majority of people I've interacted with have a lot of respect for the job that I do. And those are not, I don't work for the team. They understand that. We're all at work, and we all understand that it's an ecosystem that we need each other, that some of us need, that perhaps the players do more to promote their game than the media does, but that our existence certainly helps the sport have the success that it has. I mean, we all understand what's going on here for the most part. And so it has been very surprising to me to see that there are members of the media who don't seem to understand what their role is and who they work for. We work for the fans. That's it. That's the end. And I think that I was glad that the BBWA released a statement. I spoke to our executive council and asked them to do that. They were thinking of that without me. I don't want to say that I spurred it, but it was important to me that we stand up for Jake, who didn't do anything wrong. I also think Lindsay Adler pointed out on Twitter that even if it hadn't been a BBWA member, even if it had been a blogger who heard something, no one did anything wrong. That's what is so silly. Nobody did anything wrong here until recently. Orlando Arcia is allowed to say whatever he wants to say. We're allowed to report it. Bryce Harper's allowed to stare him down when he runs around second base. All of that is fine. Everybody is doing the right thing here until people start complaining about it after the fact.
All of that is great. I think all that's great for the game. We need more trash talking in baseball. Let's go.
Yes.
Like, we want rivalries, right? People thrive on rivalries. And then you have Travis d'Arnaud after the fact. I guess he's standing up for his teammate, but Travis has been around for a long time. Doesn't he know? Well, okay, let's ask you this, Debbie, maybe worded a different way. If Arcia had said this and a camera had maybe been talking, let's say, to d'Arnaud, and Arcia yells this next to him and they hear it and it's recorded and nobody reports on it, then people are saying, well, how come nobody reported Arcia's yelling at a boy Harper? So you guys, I get it. It's just a weird spot because the Braves, again, I think if Arcia just comes out and says, yeah, I said it. He made a bad play. I was excited after the game. Fine. It goes away. And then Harper stares at him, whatever happens. But then people are like, dude, this is so cool. We got bad blood in this rivalry. It means so much more. But instead they're like, oh, we didn't really mean it. And then they just look like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it looks kind of soft, I think, because it, like, have the courage of your convictions. And I think you've seen this play out. Alec Boehm last year for the Phillies was caught on camera saying that he hated it playing in Philadelphia. And he said afterward, like, basically, I said it. I had a bad day at work. Like, I'm really sorry. I wish I hadn't said that. But I take responsibility for it. And the fans gave him an ovation because these are humans dealing with humans. People understand and people respect it when you take responsibility for something. And yeah, again, this is great. That's what no one seems to, or a lot of people seem to miss. This is very good. There have been people complaining recently that, ESPN, which has the rights to the wild card game, mentioned baseball like twice during the day the other day. This is on Sports Center. This is getting attention for baseball. People who get money from baseball should be very happy that this is happening.
That's a great call. You're right. Yeah, we talked about it too. They did like 2 obligatory promos, even though they were carrying all the wild card games. And yeah, this is the kind of stuff that they want to cover. This is what we talk about with, I always mention cultural relevance. NBA has done it really well. NFL's on another planet right now in terms of coverage, but NBA has done it so much better. And just like AJ's saying, their players, like, they go back and forth and people talk about it and they have fun with it instead of saying, oh, I can't believe that, it was a 4 on the trash talk scale and someone heard it. So I'm with you. And I know you got to jump. So lastly, I'll just tell you this because I know you were on with us earlier this season. Your article a while back about the Yankees not paying for Wi-Fi has been one of our fun conversations and talking points with many players throughout the season. So just in case you haven't caught that, there's been like inside jokes that have been brought to the outside. So thank you for letting everyone know about that. And also fixing the world's problems. When, a team that's worth $1 jillion doesn't pay for Wi-Fi, I think you fixed the problem.
Well, I did fix it actually because they do pay for Wi-Fi now. So
Yes.
You're welcome. And I just want to add that we have that story because I was in the clubhouse and I asked a player mentioned something offhand. I think I'm going to buy the Wi-Fi tonight. And I was like, I'm sorry, you're going to what now? So that access matters,
Wait, are you sure it wasn't off the record though when he said that? Are you sure it wasn't off the record though when they said that to you?
They haven't complained. It's a good question.
Right. They haven't complained because now they don't have to pay for their Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think they're grateful actually. They like how it worked out.
That was a win
Saving
for
everybody
everyone.
Yeah.
Stephanie, safe travels. Thank you so much for joining us. It was definitely worth the combo.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. Stephanie Apstein from SI. We'll post all of her info so you can follow her on Twitter and everywhere else. Be right back. From what I've gathered from Dodger fans, it will be a bigger disappointment in their minds if they don't land Shohei Ohtani versus the disappointment that they just faced in the playoffs. My view of the feedback that I get from our chat and YouTube and all the socials that get hit up is that half of the Dodger fans that are in the FT fam that follow us are like, yo, we're not expecting much here. We don't have the pitching. We just don't feel good about this team. We don't think we're a World Series team. Sure, we're supposed to beat the Diamondbacks, but I did not get positive vibes about this team going into right now, not going into the year, not going into a month ago, right now. But the conversation already while the series was starting is like, yo, when is it time for us to start talking Ohtani again? So I think it's going to be one of the biggest stories that we've ever seen in the offseason. And I do genuinely think that the Dodgers have been talked about with Ohtani and linked to him so much already that if they don't get him, I think it's going to be one of the most devastating time periods in the history of the franchise, which is crazy because it's like one dude and he can go anywhere and there's other teams with money and whatever else. But it's that much of a front runner and it's that much reliance on from Dodger fans. Do you get the same vibes?
Yeah, I mean, this was the whole, we keep going back. I keep going back to last offseason and everything was like, we're letting all these guys go to save up money. You know, you're trying to save the piggy bank or the Shohei piggy bank. I don't know if Shohei is 100% the answer, but I know everybody is clamoring for this guy. They're looking at him as the savior for this team in the postseason next year and beyond. But the problem is, you guys already said it. Shohei isn't pitching in 2024. And the Dodgers put together, I think it was historically the worst starting pitching performance over the 3 games. I mean, you have Lance Lynn, he had an inning, of some dog, 2 innings of dog in there, but then the wheels came off really quick. He was the starting pitcher leader going 2 2/3 innings. That's just not going to cut it. So you need more. You need more than Shohei.
And now back to foul territory.
We all love the game. The game. We all put in our blood, sweat, and tears. We're all pushing for the same goal. We all want to be the best. We all want to be the best. The competition never ends. And rivalries are made. Start your rivalry today in MLB 9 Innings Rivals.
What's up, Jayfish, our Mr. MLB 9 Innings Rivals expert with us right now, and also just felt like it was a relevant time, being that there was a pretty good NL East, NLDS rivalry that just went down. Jayfish, did you enjoy the Phillies Braves series and all of the off and on the record comments that ensued?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, you have Harper hitting 2 home runs the other night, and then Castellanos doing the same thing back-to-back nights. I definitely think after those comments were made that the Braves were in for it, especially with how Harper's been in the postseason, especially the last 2 years. So definitely enjoyed that. And I like both teams. I like the Braves, but I like the Phillies too. And with them falling short last year in the World Series, I want to see them get back. Like I really like that Phillies team.
How much more of that do you think the game needs, right? Because you're younger than us 3 old geezers. So how much do you enjoy when you see the back and forth that, and forget the media side of it, we just covered that with Stephanie Apstein, but the part of, yes, there's Castellanos going long, but Harper here in the comments from Arcia, it's good trash talking. You get that during the regular season. Sometimes not enough. And then him staring down Arcia. How much does that make it more enjoyable for you?
I think the biggest thing for me is it makes it feel like it was when I was playing when I was a little kid. It was all about the game. Like these guys are really into it and stuff. So seeing them trash talk and everything, I think that's important because it shows that these guys really do care about the game they're playing. It's not just about the money and all that stuff. So like seeing them get hyped up and stuff, especially in the postseason and comments being made and then everything else, like I like I said, I feel like I'm a little kid again. Like I'm trash talking them, and that's what I like to see.
Let's run it on MLB 9 Innings Rivals and what's going on, because it's a big week in the games world.
Yeah, so with it being the postseason, every time we have like something big like opening day, All-Star week, and then also during the postseason, there's normally big events that come in to the games, both in MLB 9 Innings, which I talked about the last time I was on, and then the new game Rivals. So we have a signature trade event. There's signature cards. So if you have your Topps cards like you do in real life, you have your autograph cards. They're your better cards. They're your top tier cards. That's the same thing in this game. They apply certain things to stats. They just give you boosts that normal cards don't, and they're very valuable. So in the game right now, you can obtain a signature team card. So whatever team you choose, you can get a signature card for that team. And having a team player is very important in that game. And you can acquire that right now in the game through doing different missions and stuff. So if you log in, you create an account, you could get a signature player right off the bat. And then also with the game coming out July 4th, we have hit 100 days since the game came out. And they're doing a special event where for a week you get 1,000 stars in-game currency each day for a total of 7,000 stars going on all right now.
Is 1,000 stars the same on Rivals as it is on MLB 9 Innings? Like it will be the same way you get the 1,000 stars?
You asked if it's the same way
I
you
don't
get the
hear
1,000
anything.
cards.
My audio.
You get the 1,000 stars through Rivals the same way you normally get it on 9 Innings.
Okay, I can hear now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
No,
Jayfish.
not you, Kratz. So
Kratz wanted to know if you got the same, if the 1,000 stars mean as much in the Rivals as it does in the regular game.
Okay, so in the regular game, so it's the same type of currency system. I guess, yes, stars are more important in both games. You have normal points that you can use, and you have stars where you can purchase, I guess, higher tier items with those stars as well. So both games, stars are very important compared to normal points.
How hard is it normally to get 1,000 stars? I can't play like a couple games to get 1,000 stars or what?
No, when you're playing, you're normally getting points from that and stuff. So stars, you can get them through check-in events, certain missions and stuff. So they're definitely harder to attain. Like I've seen accounts that have millions of points, but you're only going to get in the thousands of stars for that.
Got it. Can I pick, if I get a signature card, like say I have enough stars and I'm like, I want to buy a signature card. Can I pick, say, Bryce Harper, or is it going to give me, is it randomly going to give me like Bryson Stott or someone else, or do I get to choose?
It depends on the type of pack you have. So there's certain signature packs where if you open it up, it's a random player. And then there's certain signature packs to where it's a certain team. So you select the team and you'll get a random player from that team as well. And then the event that's going on right now, though, there's 30 different signature cards, one for each team. And you can get a pack through one of the events that are going on. It gives you a random player of those. And if you complete the other missions in the other event, it'll give you a signature change item to where you can trade in that player you got if it wasn't your team for your actual team player. So you're pretty much guaranteed to get your team player if you complete all the missions.
Okay, so give me firsthand experience. How have you benefited from all of the rewards and all of the incentives that are being built into this magical week? Like, did you pull any crazy cards?
So actually, earlier on the stream this week, the event was already going on for the signature player. We are a Nationals deck on our channel on MLB 9 Innings on YouTube, and we ended up getting Trey Turner. He is the signature card for the Nationals in that game, and we upgraded him and stuff. He's, I think, a 99 overall, which is by far the highest overall we have on our team. So definitely have benefited from both of those, and then using stars to open other packs and stuff and getting other types of cards.
Now, just make sure that if he goes through a slump, you are positive vibes with Trey. You know about that, right?
Yes, yeah, but the thing is these cards, they're based off of a season, so the stats don't change. So it doesn't matter how he does. The stats on the card you get, they don't change.
I'm just saying, obviously half joking, but this year.
I know you're half joking.
but this year, that was the one of the more surprising answers, because usually when you talk to a player, they'll get deep on like some change that they made or something like that, or just be like, nah, everything's the same and whatever, the crowd doesn't affect me. And he was just like, no, that meant everything to me when I'm struggling. I just signed a big ass contract. And the crowd that cheers or that boos almost everyone, including Santa Claus, suddenly is like, no, actually, we love you and we're stuck with you for a long time. So please play like you usually do. And he did. So,
well, I was about to say he played so well in the World Baseball Classic and then was on that slump, but it was nice seeing him hit that home run last night too. So, I mean, I guess all that matters is the postseason at this point.
Yeah. Well, plus after it's literally broken down the season into the start of the year and then the delineation where the crowd decided we're actually going to cheer for this guy, and then after that point, and he's been one of the best players in baseball since. So it worked. Philly home crowd's getting the job done. They're contributing this year. So
that's for sure. That's for sure. I want to see an Astros Phillies rematch. That's
what
I really want to see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say that is the most likely at this point. Those two teams are favored. So we'll see what happens. Jayfish, great to talk to you, man.
Hold on, wait, before he goes,
yes.
Scott, hold on. I got to ask him a question. So, Jayfish, you're sitting in a Bengals chair, and then you have a DK Metcalf jersey behind you. Those two teams play each other. So, who you got this weekend?
That's not a Bengals.
You can't have Metcalf and Bengals.
So, technically, like, I guess the lighting makes it look orange. It's technically red, but I do live in Cincinnati. I'm a Bengals fan as well. I'm a Seahawks fan. I'm actually going to the game.
Let's go.
The thing is trying to decide what I want to wear. Do I want to wear Seahawks gear or do I want to wear Bengals gear? Because I'm probably going to be in a sea of Bengals fans, and I don't want to get jumped or anything. So I'm still trying to decide that right now.
I will say they're pretty nice though. The crowd out there, no, I don't think they're as.
They're not as bad as some franchises, I feel like, but I've definitely seen some fights in some games I've been there before.
And you're a nice guy. That's not you. Also, you've got bigger and better things to worry about. So yeah, keep it somewhat neutral, or at least bring some protection with you if need be. Bring some big friends.
I must say maybe I wear a Seahawks shirt underneath and put a Bengals thing over top. So whatever way it's going.
You can't, Jay, you can't do that, dude. Like we said about Arcia, say it with your chest, dude. I'm a Seahawks fan. Listen, as a Seahawks supporter, I get it. Wear the Metcalf jersey, okay?
All right, I got you. You made my decision today.
Plus, I'm not there, so they can only fight you, not me.
Exactly. From someone who will walk through Chicago with his White Sox. Would go to a Wrigley. Wouldn't you go to Wrigley in a White Sox uniform, AJ?
No, I'd sit there and hide and then see how long it took for someone to notice me.
Not long.
And then I'd take my jacket off and be like, yeah, let's go.
Jayfish, good to see you, man. Appreciate the time, dude.
Good seeing you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And scan the QR code right there on the screen, bottom right corner, to download MLB 9 Innings Rivals for free. And the game features new battle content, postseason pick'em mode. You can switch between quick play, highlight play, and full play. And obviously, this week especially is big. There are a lot of incentives to get involved. Again, free to download MLB 9 Innings Rivals. We'll give you some fearless predictions for the weekend when the ALCS starts on Sunday. Coming up. Okay, so I'm going to try to smoothly transition this to a few minutes on the crew. So will you make a phone call like that at some point this offseason, if need be, to Counts, whether it's for him thinking about another team or just not coming back, and say, dude, I'm going to need you for a few more seasons here. I'm going to need you to come back. It's a unique situation. He's a free agent. I know he's been super tight about it. You know, he hasn't said much. We get a lot of Brew Crew on this show. I don't think we've talked to you about it, but like, you know, Freddie Peralta said he tried to talk to him a couple times about it and just was stonewalled. Like, he's just like, yeah, we'll deal with it later. Don't worry about it. But so I'm assuming he hasn't said anything to you, but even with that, do you phone call and be like, yo, I'm coming to the mound, Counts. Like, let's go, dude. I need more out of you.
I think, you know, when I left Milwaukee at the end of the year, we always are in contact in the off season. And I think we'll even more so will be this offseason as kind of things go. But he hasn't really tipped his hand on anything of what's going to happen. I know he loves the Milwaukee Brewers. He grew up in Milwaukee, going to Brewers games. His dad worked there. He's loved managing there ever since he took over. So I would definitely find it difficult for him to leave to go somewhere else. Now, does he take a couple of years off to go spend time with his family? That's definitely a possibility. He's got 4 kids and college, high school age, so he's definitely been away from him. That's something I think that all dads can kind of relate to if you want to spend more time with your family and your kids. So I wouldn't count that out, but he's been in Milwaukee his whole life. I would find it very difficult for him to go somewhere else. But like you said, he's a free agent. He's probably the best manager available out there. So some team wants to go out and throw some ridiculous numbers at him. I think he's human, just like the rest of us are.
And now back to foul territory.
What's happening? Poll results for you on the most disappointing team in the postseason. The Braves have the lead. Then it's the Dodgers, then the Blue Jays, then the Rays, then the Orioles, as I'm looking at it live here. Most disappointing team in the playoffs? No, you're shaking your head, AJ?
I don't know how the Blue Jays are so high. I didn't think they were very good.
They're not the Blue Jays anymore. Ken Rosenthal has officially coined them the Toronto Paper Tigers. They have changed their name. It's not the Toronto Tigers. There's paper in front of them. It's very important. Ken's been very, very steadfast on that, and he nailed it. I do think
there's a little bit of infighting there also. It doesn't seem like the manager and the front office and the president and the GM are kind of on this, and the players are kind of like not on the same page, really. They're kind of more on the wrong page.
On their own page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll try to get to that if we have time in the second hour. Let's get our locks from Thursday, your BetMGM locks. Kratz and myself are superstars. Kratz's lock hit, I think, before the game when they were like, we're going to walk Harper at least once.
Four pitches into his at-bat. It was actually 3 pitches and then an intentional ball.
Yeah, that was the lock of the year. And then, do you see how fancy I got, AJ? Just for you. I know you weren't on, but I hit it. I got my Strider hits. I got my Ranger Suarez 1 punchy. And I did that all just so I could buy a little more runs that I didn't even need to buy because the under hit anyway. So, boom, there you go. I feel really good about that. I was proud of myself. That was like an AJ Kratz special. I don't usually get that fancy, but
we're proud of you.
Here we are.
We're proud that we've taught you so much.
Thank you, guys. You're the best.
You're always looking for plus money, Scott. Whatever it takes to get to plus money. Yeah. And by the way, I know I wasn't on yesterday, but my Wednesday lock hit, the last hitter, he walked the guy.
Oh, we heard it. We heard it. We got the texts.
I was like, Bryce Elder is not going to walk a guy. Oh, he walked the last guy. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. It's risky. It's dicey. Okay, so there's no game tonight, obviously, and there's no games on Saturday, but letting everyone know the $1,500 first bet offer when you use the code FOUL is up and running for you. When you download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android or betmgm.com, you can go sign up and deposit at least $10 into your new account, place your first wager, and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. So if that bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your wager is settled. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So what I'll ask for from you guys is just like a bold prediction. Kratz did this last Friday and said Yordan Alvarez 1 walk, and it was money. So you lead us off, Kratz. What's something we should look to on Sunday? It's not your official lock because we're not there yet, but is there something you got your eye on?
Can we get plus 115 for the Rangers to steal the first game?
I think that's very doable. Yeah. And also that series.
I like that as a lock.
Okay. Because that series in my mind has a much better chance. Like I was just looking at the series odds, right? And obviously the Phillies they were in like the minus 170, 175 range. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not picking Arizona.
Nope.
But on the other side, I could see the Rangers upsetting the Astros. Should the Astros be favored? Yes. But that's the side I'm going to for sure. I'm not touching the Diamondbacks. I'm sorry. They've had a nice run, but I do think, at least on paper, Philadelphia's got a clear advantage. I don't feel the same advantage with Texas and Houston.
And I love that. And I love that plus 115 more than I love. I mean, I'm pretty confident with the Phillies, but more than I love the minus. I'm looking at it right now, minus 185. I'm trying I'm trying that plus 115 for sure.
You just watched the Astros. What do you think? You think it's going to be a good series? You think they?
Hold on. First of all, I want to say, isn't Zach Gallen the Mr. New Jersey pitching game one? So Kratz, you New Jersey people don't have trust in your New Jersey guy? I mean, man, you guys are disappointing.
He's from Jersey. There's only sand in New Jersey. I'm from Pennsylvania. There's trees.
Close enough.
Yeah, and I didn't say anything about game one. I just said they don't have. I don't see it in the series. Plus, I'm the guy that picked the Phillies.
Todd's going to be so mad at you guys when he comes back on. I'm just.
I'm the guy.
Todd still thinks the Yankees are in it.
Actually, I will say this. Todd, for a few days, was like, no chance. Phillies are winning both games at home. Braves have no chance. He was very strong about that.
Spot on. He was
there was a little bit of blowback from our fans, and they're eating crow right now.
Yep.
Okay. Well, all right. You asked me. Well, the Astros and the Rangers had the identical records during the year. I mean, it's 90 and 72, I believe. The Astros won the division because of the tiebreaker. Now, the Astros have owned that division and owned the Rangers for about 8 years now. So it's going to be a great series because, again, we talk about rivalries and we talk about teams that don't like each other. We talk about trash talking. This is the series because these teams don't like each other. Bochy, Baker, we saw the Martin Maldonado, Marcus Semien stuff. Verlander's back. Scherzer's probably going to be back. I mean, this is going to be an awesome series. And for my prediction, here's my prediction. Whatever team loses on Sunday night is going to complain they had too much rest. That's my bold prediction.
That's good. My bold prediction is whichever team throws the most F-bombs in post-game shows that get picked up by television is going to win their series. So right now, the Astros have a strong lead thanks to Verlander dropping, 5 F-bombs. Castellanos dropped one, which we should be able to get to in the second hour. And Ken Rosenthal is going to join us in hour 2 for a little chat about, what is on and off the record, but also getting to his story about Ohtani and the Dodgers and how that little get together needs to happen. So we'll run all that coming up in just a second. So hour number 2 of FT Live and a little bit more on that series and some previewing to do. So we'll be right back. Questions, comments, we'll get to any of that as well in the chat. We'll see you on there. Let's finish Friday strong, people.